If men have high estrogen in their system, the organic soy can help. It is protective.
So when, you hear sometimes people say, well, I don't want to have soy. It's going to give me boobs or something like that. I mean, is that a myth? You're listening to the Plant-Based Diet Podcast, where we talk about all things plant-based. I'm Esther Garfin, the host of this show and founder of Alternative Food Network. Join me and my amazing array of guests who are a mix of healthcare professionals, industry executives, and people with an interesting story to tell about their plant-based journey. Let us help you with your journey, wherever you're at, to learn the what, why, and how to eat plant-based. And we're back with our second of 2 episodes about hormone balancing with Dr. Rose Kumar. You've heard of menopause, but did you know there's a male version too? Maybe you've noticed it yourself. Lower energy, stubborn belly fat, and you just assume it's getting older. But what if it's your hormones? Today we're talking about andropause, sometimes called male menopause. My guest, Dr. Kumar, is board certified in internal medicine. She's an integrative physician and an expert in bioidentical hormone balancing for female and male patients. In the episode preceding this one, I chatted with Dr. Kumar about balancing hormones for women in their mid-30s and up. This one for men will be just as informative and helpful. We'll break down what's really going on in your body, what symptoms to watch for, and what you can actually do about it, so you can feel like yourself again. If you know someone who you think should hear this episode, please copy the link and share the episode. And if you haven't already followed this series, please go ahead and click that little plus sign or the follow button wherever you listen to podcasts. A quick reminder that we have a free monthly newsletter that includes our latest Alternative Food Network episodes, recipes, and occasional giveaways. To subscribe for free, go to alternativefoodnetwork.com and click the newsletter sign up button. And now for today's episode. Hi, Dr. Kumar. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Esther.
The episode that we did on female hormone balancing has been so well received so far, so I wanted to let you know that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very excited to do this one on male hormone balancing. Like we started the last time, give people a basic knowledge about male hormones. What are they and where are they produced?
So male hormones, the primary hormone in a man is testosterone. The secondary hormone is estrogen, and they're produced by the Leydig cells in the testicles that are programmed to produce testosterone. Testosterone is a very important hormone in men. I was not taught anything about this in my training, and I fell upon this because I'm interested in hormones because they're so important. And I remember when Dr. Bredson's book, The End of Alzheimer's, came out, and a lot of the interest in dementia came out, and they were talking about how testosterone is a key hormone in cognition in men. And I became very curious, what is this? I was never taught about this. I was only taught about, you give testosterone to people who have Klinefelters because they don't produce testosterone, or in testosterone deficiency as a pathology. When I was at Stanford in my third year of residency, there was an article that was published that said men are losing fertility in LA and the cities of California from hormone disruptors in the environment. So I was, 27 years old, saying, what are hormone disruptors and why does that affect fertility? And so all of that kind of came back to me, and I started to really explore what is going on here. And now 30 years ago, that was underway, and we've had so many more impurities and environmental toxins that have built up in our environment and caused disruption in female hormones. Now, why wouldn't that affect men? And so I started checking testosterone levels because that's not something that we typically do in our physical exams, pre-physical exam labs. And lo and behold, in my practice, in my clinical practice, I found that the majority of men that were in their 40s and above had low free testosterone levels.
What is low free testosterone mean? Like, is there a number?
So there's not one number. It really depends on the lab. So different labs have different ranges of total and free testosterone. So testosterone as a hormone is available to the body as a free and total level. What is the free level? The free is the testosterone that is not bound by a protein. That's bioavailable to men's cells, just like in women, free testosterone is also bioavailable to her cells and is an important yet tertiary hormone for women. Not all women need testosterone. In women that have PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome, their testosterone levels are very high, their estrogen levels are low. Well, in midlife men, especially in America, especially what I see in my practice, the free testosterone levels are low in men. So then the question becomes, why? What is going on and what is causing this to happen? Now, we know that environmental toxins damage the Leydig cells of the testicles and cause a reduction in testosterone production, but so do our diets. And that's the point that you and I are here to talk about, is what can we do to improve the diets of men so that their testosterone levels improve? Not all men will have improved testosterone levels with dietary changes and moving to a whole food plant-based diet, which we'll talk a little bit about as to why that works. But it's a very important component of the foundation of the body. If your foundation of the body is not healthy, you're not going to have a chance of improving anything. So that's the foundational piece.
What is the imbalance that occurs? I understand that low testosterone, but what's the imbalance? Do they have more estrogen?
Mm-hmm. So there's many ways that the imbalance occurs in men. And let's just take one step back and talk about why testosterone is important in men. What is the function of it? Well, the function of testosterone is neuroplasticity, it's cognitive clarity, it's memory, it stacks memory, it influences the hippocampus in the brain, that is the memory center of the brain. All of the muscle receptors have receptors for testosterone. So testosterone enhances muscle growth and muscle tone in men. And it's that primary hormone, and almost every cell of a man's body has testosterone receptors. We know the most important things that testosterone does in male bodies, and the brain is like sort of the area we want to really protect from low testosterone. Now, estrogen is important in men also, but it's of secondary importance. So how does imbalance occur? Well, either men will have a high estrogen, low testosterone, or a really low testosterone that causes that imbalance to occur. So if your testosterone's really low, you're going to have high estrogen relative to testosterone. If your testosterone's normal and your estrogen's really high, you're going to have an imbalance between estrogen and testosterone. And where does that high estrogen come from and the low testosterone come from? Well, the standard American diet, which may be the standard Canadian diet also, is high in processed foods, in meat, in sugar, in foods that don't have a lot of nutrient density. Nutrient-dense foods support the Leydig cells to produce testosterone, specifically vitamin D, zinc, magnesium. These are all cofactors that are really important in testosterone production. So men that are eating a processed diet or a diet that is not prolific in plants and vegetables are not going to have the cofactors that support the production of testosterone, and so the testosterone levels will drop. Even naturally, testosterone levels drop as men age. At age 30 and beyond, like 1% reduction in testosterone per year on average in men. So they have to do the things that are needed to support testosterone production. Working out supports testosterone production. So when you work out, your testosterone levels go up. If you don't work out, if you're sedentary and eating, a sort of a non-nutrient dense diet, your testosterone production is going to tank. And I became even more interested after COVID because inflammation reduces testosterone production. And COVID is an inflammatory virus. And a lot of the men that had COVID have inflammation in their bodies, even post-COVID. And so if men, for example, are inflamed and testosterone production is low, and then they drink alcohol, which a lot of them do as a normal part of their lifestyle, alcohol also damages Leydig cells, but it also reduces the clearance of estrogen. So that can create an imbalance also in the body of men. And so here we're looking at, like a healthy, whole food, plant-based lifestyle that with minimal alcohol use can actually shift that hormone balance. And that is what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
At what age should men start to think about this and perhaps go to see their doctor?
So for men, I don't know that there's a defined age to check it. I start checking it around age mid-40s is when I check the testosterone level. And if a man comes in and they have anxiety or depression or their mood is down or they're gaining weight or they're developing gynecomastia or breasts, something's off. So if a man starts to feel the mood is a big tip-off that the testosterone levels may be dropping, because testosterone does assist in that sense of vitality, that sense of well-being. And when those levels drop, the mood is the first thing that can, kind of indicate that there's a hormone imbalance. And so men should, if that happens in a man's early 40s even, they should have their physicians check a free and total testosterone level.
Okay, so that was actually my next question. When they go to their doctor, they should be asking for free and total testosterone? Anything else that should be checked?
What should be checked also is a DHEA level and an estrogen level.
For men,
okay. For men. So the DH, because then you can actually look at, is there an imbalance? The DHEA is a hormone produced by the adrenals. It's an important hormone for men and for women that offers resilience, but it's also a precursor to testosterone. So like if you're really stressed, either the DHEA is going to be really high, and with chronic stress, and I think we addressed this in the last episode, if you're really stressed, the DHEA can go way up and convert into testosterone. But if you're chronically stressed, the DHEA can go down, and that's what we call adrenal burnout. And a lot of people are suffering from that now. So the DHEA sulfate would be a good hormone to check along with the testosterone level. So the physician can see, is it the low DHEA that's causing a reduction in the testosterone because the precursor for testosterone is low? Or are there other factors that could be causing that? So you can see it gets complicated.
Yeah, oh yes.
But it's important for a physician to be able to help their male patients. This is a very important aspect of men's health that is really not addressed.
Yeah, and likely, as for women, they have to find someone who knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's become an industry now. So it's really important to have like a scientific evidence-based approach versus run to like the first thing that's going to increase your T, because that itself can create an imbalance.
And what are some of the things that you do for your patients? If there's a male who comes in and you've done some testing, what are some of the options for them?
Mm-hmm. So if their testosterone is low, for example, I will put them on a bioidentical testosterone, which is plant-based, that is compounded in the compounding pharmacy. It's non-petroleum based, like the regular pharmaceutical testosterone, and it is bioidentical to their body's testosterone. So I will order that through the compounding pharmacy and then check their level in a couple of months to see if I've been able to bring their level to like mid-range. Depends on the man. So some men feel great even if it's a little bit above the low end of normal and all their symptoms go away. Some men need a higher free testosterone level in order for their vitality to return. And over time, they may not need that, but initially they may. So again, this is a really customized approach to each male. And so that's where I start, along with the education of a plant-dense diet that they need to be on in order to support the metabolism of those hormones.
And if someone doesn't want to go on bioidentical hormones or any kind of hormones, is there anything else maybe naturally that they could do?
Well, exercise, and then make sure the vitamin D level is normal, make sure the zinc level is normal, that they're getting plenty of zinc in their diet, because those two, vitamin D is considered a hormone now, because it really enhances the production of testosterone, but it also reduces the activity of the protein that binds testosterone. Because if the testosterone's bound, it's not bioavailable to the cell. And so vitamin D kind of balances that free and total testosterone so that it's more bioavailable to the cell. And magnesium does the same thing. So I'll start them on magnesium. I'll make sure their D level is normal. They'll go on a zinc supplement or make sure that they're eating foods that are prolific in zinc.
Such as?
Such as, nuts, seeds, hemp. Hemp seeds are really a great source of zinc. Well, beef is a great source of zinc, but look, hemp seeds do a better job. They're equivalent in terms of the amount of zinc that they hold without the saturated fat. Why? Because saturated fat reduces testosterone because it interferes with the biome and the metabolism of the hormone. So make sure they're getting plenty of lentils that are soaked or cooked for a long time, because lentils have a certain anti-nutrient, phytate in that actually interferes with the absorption of zinc. So if you're cooking it correctly, you'll actually absorb the zinc in legumes, which are prolific in zinc.
What about canned lentils?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know how the canned are made.
Okay.
So I never eat canned lentils. Lentils are easy to cook.
So you're a proponent of the dry. Okay, so dry and soaked.
It's a little more work, but not a lot. And it's a lot tastier. And you know what's going into it.
And since we're talking about food now, like we did in the female balancing hormone episode, what are some other foods that you recommend when it comes to balancing hormones for males?
I
improving
recommend
their situation.
Yeah. So if we're looking at a whole food plant-based diet, lots of nutrient-dense greens. They're really important. Fiber, foods that are fibrous, like, again, nutrient-dense greens, and complex carbohydrates like beans and lentils. And seeds, nuts and seeds, so cashews, almonds, and then seeds, pumpkin seeds, pine nuts, some pine nuts. Pine nuts are very high in fat. Avocados, and as well as, sunflower seeds, hemp seeds. Those are a diet that is high in those foods, provide fiber to the microbiome. And your microbiome, which is the gut flora, they do all the heavy lifting and all the work to balance hormones. So that is an essential component of the body that works in tandem with the liver. The liver deactivates the amount of hormone that is not necessary, and it works with the gut biome to create balance in the body. So if we eat foods that nourish the liver, that keep it clean, that nourish the microbiome, and then you exercise. So what we're talking now is a very simple lifestyle. These are lifestyle changes that can enhance the production of testosterone And then do that for 2 months, 3 months, and then check your levels and see if they've improved. So that would be the way that if you're, don't want to go on hormones, you have to improve your lifestyle in order to, or enhance it in order to bring your hormones back into balance or actually improve the production of testosterone.
And one last question on the food side of things. In the other episode we did for female hormones, we talked about non-GMO organic soy. When it comes to men, should they be eating the same thing?
Same thing, because men too are producing estrogen. And organic soy, non-GMO, protects the estrogen receptors from too much estrogen stimulation. So if men have high estrogen in their system, the organic soy can help. It is protective on the receptor where the too much estrogen is bombarding and stimulating that receptor.
So is it a myth then when, you hear sometimes people say, well, I don't want to have soy, it's going to give me boobs or something like that. I mean, is that a myth?
I'm pretty sure it is, because alcohol will give you more boobs than soy will. Soy does not create boobs.
Okay.
Soy protects you from developing boobs.
Okay. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the show, but okay.
As a male.
Well, as a male, yeah. Well, this is what they're worried about, right? Yeah. They don't think they should eat any soy.
I think it's important for men and women to have like a basic understanding of physiology. We all have a body. We should kind of understand like the basics of how our body functions. I mean, I actually have a webinar on my website called How the Body Works and how all the systems work in sync together. It's a very basic webinar. It's free so that people can learn, how do these systems in our body work together? It doesn't talk specifically about soy and male boobs, but it talks about like the different systems and how they work in sync together. And, sadly, I think that most people don't have any idea. Like, we're not taught in school in health class how the body works. And I think that since we all have a body, we should have a basic knowledge of how our body works. And, social media has done a disservice to the health industry, and I'll call it an industry, because, anything that has a majority opinion for some reason ends up becoming truth. And it's not really scientific, because if 100 people say that soy is bad, and then everyone starts believing that soy is bad, but the data shows otherwise. And so before people believe what they hear through social media or through the media, they should look things up and, do their homework or ask their physician, or, there's so many ways to vet the information that you're getting, because we, at the end of the day, want to do what's good for our body.
Well, I'm happy to add the link to your webinar in the show notes, just as a resource for people, the one that you were mentioning on physiology. If someone wants to read up on this more, this episode has piqued their interest, they want to know more, is there any research, evidence-based research that you can direct someone to?
I can send you some links afterwards, after the show, that people can access. There's really not a whole lot researched on, say, testosterone in men, because it's really not been a interesting science in men's health and women's health, because this is not normalized in primary care. Most primary care physicians don't know what to do with this. Integrative physicians, we do our best to provide safe information that's evidence-based for our patients, but really women have not been studied well in terms of bioidenticals. Men have not been studied in terms of bioidenticals and testosterone. There's information about, on the NIH website, PubMed has information about testosterone and cognition, I would invite men to look at Dave Bredson's book, The End of Alzheimer's, just as a preventative. It's got so much incredible information in it about how neuroplasticity is connected directly to testosterone levels in men. And in my practice, in my clinical experience, the men that I've seen that have mild cognitive impairment and low testosterone levels, I've changed their diets, I've put them on testosterone, I've put them on DHEA if they need it, and within months, their cognition has improved. I mean, it's almost miraculous, but it's really not a miracle. It's good science, it's good medicine.
That's amazing. And before we end the show, I do want to address one, I don't know if you'd call it the elephant in the room, but we didn't talk about it in the other episode, the cost of
testosterone,
BHRT,
yeah,
even going to integrative physicians. I mean, it's outside the financial capabilities of people. A lot of people just can't afford to go see an integrative physician. The bioidentical hormones, how much does that cost relative to, let's say, something that's FDA approved or even something over the counter?
So over-the-counter testosterone, I would not do any over-the-counter supplements for hormones because they're unregulated. And even if it's cheaper, like DHEA, you can get it over-the-counter, it's disastrous to take it without regulation and without checking levels. So that's one thing. Testosterone per se, as far as I know, is not available over-the-counter. In terms of FDA-approved testosterone, it is way unaffordable. It's like $200 a month. And most insurances will not cover that because this is not a normalized issue in men. So unless you have like a disease that is where you're, or a condition where you're not producing testosterone, for regular preventative improvement of your levels, it's not covered. So the compounding pharmacies, they vary from pharmacy to pharmacy in terms of cost. The compounding pharmacy that I use, it's about $30 a month. So it's way cheaper than the FDA-regulated testosterone, which smells bad and is petroleum-based. Like integrative medicine, it's the variance in cost for a physician is mind-boggling. I'm the cheapest deal in town. I mean, I've priced myself in an affordable way so that people can access me because people deserve to be able to access. Look for an affordable integrative physician and make sure that they have a good reputation and that ask people, how are they, word of mouth.
And if someone wants to contact you, where can they find you?
They can go online at www.omanicenter.com, OMMANI center.com. The phone number at the center is 262-695-5311. And if they want to have a tele consult or have me oversee their hormone management, they can send me an email through the website. My staff will get back to them. So it's really, I think it's important at least to get the information, not just from me, but from multiple sources, so that you're satisfied and you feel aligned with what your physician is recommending for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. I have some patients that basically consult me for information. My physician's doing this, what should I ask them? Teach me what I need to understand so that they're informed and they're, basically a more informed patient. So when they go meet with their physician, they know what questions to ask and, whether or not, if they're not feeling well on what that physician's got them doing, what does that mean? So I think that that kind of information is empowering and people deserve to have that. You should have that.
Yes, we should.
Yeah. You should want to have that.
Wow, this was another terrific episode. Thank you again.
Thank you.
I hope you found this episode helpful. Please share, rate, leave a review, and follow Plant-Based Diet on your favorite podcast listening platform. If you're on social media, please follow us at Alternative Food Network on Instagram, and we're also on LinkedIn. We also publish a monthly newsletter that includes plant-based recipes, recipe videos, our latest podcasts, and the occasional giveaway. You can sign up by going on our website, alternativefoodnetwork.com, and click the newsletter sign up button. And please consider supporting us on Buy Me a Coffee at buymeacoffee.com/alternativefoodnetwork. Until next time, thanks for listening. All content provided or opinions expressed in this podcast are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek advice from your doctor or other qualified healthcare practitioner.